Hi, this is Max with Family Piano Co. And right here is one of Kawai's newly released models, the CN301. This is part of Kawai's next generation of digital pianos. And then a little bit further behind me there is Kawai's CN39, which was the predecessor to the 301. Now, they made some improvements in this new generation of digital pianos. In my opinion, the biggest improvements that they made are going to be in terms of touch and sound between the old generation and the current generation. Now, in my opinion, so they both use the RH3 action, though they upgraded the action for the 301. In my opinion, RH3, it's a plastic key action. In my opinion, it's the very best, the most realistic plastic key action on a digital piano. I didn't quite think there was room to make it better, but they definitely did. The biggest difference is they added a lot of extra cushioning into the action, which both makes it a lot quieter, but it also just makes it feel much smoother to play. There's a lot less inconsistencies, a lot less of the kind of plastic bounciness, and it just feels like a much more consistent, reliable kind of action to play on. Then the next difference is going to be the sound differences, which part of it has to do with the way the speakers are kind of oriented. On a spec sheet, you're not going to see too much in terms of the differences, but before the speakers were made in collaboration with Onkyo, now they're kind of more in-house production. But in my opinion, and I think you'll hear pretty clearly in the video, the sound is just very noticeably improved from last generation to this generation, even though the sound technology is the same, progressive harmonic imaging, polyphony is the same, but it really sounds like there's a big sound improvement. And sometimes that's how it goes, where the spec sheet might not look as impressive, as much of a difference, but when you really come in person and you can really hear the difference, it's pretty tremendous what about a 4-year difference between these models really did. So first, to kind of just go over the aesthetic differences, because there are some cabinet differences, and I think it's all for the better. You'll see on the 301 over here, basically there's kind of like a sound bar in the back, and see how these two are flush. It's different from the 301. I think it's a lot sleeker how it looks now. I'll show you how it looks on the 301 over here. Kind of had the bar right in the back, and then this was raised up above it. So there's a tiny bit of a height difference between the two that you can see here. Not really significant, but just in general, the 301 just ends up looking more sleek, more modern, and I really like how it looks having these two be flush with each other and having the larger, the larger speakers there. So the next big difference is going to be in the display, where it's going to be a little hard to see with the lighting in here, but essentially the display is just more neatly organized and a little bit easier to tell where you're at. It's just done differently now. Here is the older display over here. Now, mostly you can see that just aesthetically, it's a lot more pleasing. It looks more modern, more updated. In terms of the differences between the two, one of the biggest things now is the CN301. It is going to be compatible with Kawai's Piano Remote app, where the CN29 and 39, they kind of missed the boat on that. They're a bit too early to be part of that app. So it's really nice now that you have the same touchscreen on your phone that would be found on the CN701, 901, or even the Novus series. So that's a really nice thing to have. But of course, the most important thing is to play these pianos and listen to their sound and just kind of note for improvements. First, I'm just gonna play a little bit of improv running up and down the piano. I'm going to be using the main Shigeru Kawai Concert Grand Voice, full volume on both, just to give the default voice, full volume, the most clear kind of comparison between the two. So here we go. There we go. Now I'm going to move the mic a bit closer to the 39 to hopefully pick up the same kind of sound here. There we go. There we go. So as a player, I'd say one of the biggest things that I immediately noticed, the cushioning added to the RH3 action on the CN301, it does feel a lot smoother and a lot more consistent. And especially as I was ending there, I had one chord over here, a G and an E. See on here, it was kind of difficult at a really soft dynamic to make sure that both of those notes sounded at the exact same time. And really, I think the cushioning added some consistency on the 301 over here that just made that an much easier task. No problem at all getting these notes to sound at the same exact time, even at a very quiet dynamic. So right off the bat there, that's a pretty big touch improvement. So I wanted to play a real piece of classical music between the two over here. So I'm going to start on the 301. This is going to be one of Mendelssohn's Song Without Words, and hopefully should give a pretty clear idea of the sound differences. Now the touch differences are definitely there. I would say as a player, the 301, right off the bat, it just felt much better to play on. So it's a pretty noticeable difference. So here we go. All right, so this is going to be Mendelssohn's Songs Without Words, Opus 53, number 19. I'm going to play the first page over on the 301. I'm going to move you over again to give you kind of the same spatial distance as I was recording on the 301 over here. I tried to get things to be about as objective and clear as possible. No, the camera's not going to be at the greatest viewpoint over here. Let's see. There we go. You'll get kind of a bird's eye view of the 39 here. I definitely felt a little more secure playing on the improved RH3, just in terms of more consistency, and I felt more sure that, you know, if I'm bringing out a certain note, it's gonna come out in a more clean, clear way. Just overall, I felt the levels of clarity were greater. I'm thinking though, these are both at full volume. I'm thinking maybe the CN39 has just a little bit more volume power to it. I kind of want to test that out. So I'll try the opening to Chopin's B flat minor sonata. I'm going to try that over on the 301 here. So I definitely noticed a much cleaner kind of sound here where, for example, the melody kind of just fell in a much more clean, clear way over what the left hand was doing. It just sounds like it's coming at you in a more direct kind of way. And I'll take back what I said about a volume difference between the two. They actually sounded just about the exact same there, and they really should, because on the spec sheet it shows they have the same, you know, wattage running through them. So it really does seem like they do have the same sound. Maybe I was just playing with a little less force before. But overall, just really, really nice improvements. The extra cushioning, really big deal, as it now makes this almost completely quiet when you're playing without headphones on. I mean, it would be kind of hard to pick up on the mic anyway, but I'll get close to the 39 and try to show what it sounded like with no volume on. This is one of the big reasons they made the improvement. And I'll go over to the 301. So a lot quieter. Then with the cushioning, the keys just feel more consistent on your fingertips. Like the resistance on them pushing against your finger feels much more consistent, which allows you to play notes and feel more confident about them all falling down at the same time. Just overall, big improvement. Less clickety, less clackety, and just more straight music playing. So, between the CN39 and the CN301, they definitely made a big improvement there. And it's the same thing for the CN29 to CN201. Pretty soon we're going to be getting in the CN701 and the CA701 and the CA901. And I'm pretty excited about that. I think there's also going to be a lot to say about those. But as for now, definitely some big improvements. And I'm really happy that, you know, they keep releasing better and better digital pianos every few years. It makes me very excited. Thank you very much for watching.